Hey guys, Larry from Real HiFi Help. I just wanted to talk to you about managing gear that's really bad versus the better gear on the market. If I've got a system that's at a lower end, let's call it some retro system, Akai, Sansui, Macintosh from like 40 years ago, and I know it's noisy, and I know it's most likely some two-channel stuff. In general, what I suggest doing is what I do in those cases is use a basic power bar, have like an OIAID 079 gold plug on it, which sort of dampens the sound a bit, removes a bit of the harshness. Use a basic like $5 cable that we pretty much all have from eBay, and then use like a standard $1 power cord. And then here I have audio nodes, what is it called, LX96 speaker cable, and in this case I have SRBN banana plugs. But if I had old gear like that, I would probably use some gold version plugs from OIAID instead. These are the tools that I use when I've got gear that isn't really that good, where I want to hide the faults with the sound and I want it to be balanced, I want it to be warm, I want it to integrate. This is the old daddy retro sound that a lot of audiophiles think is the original sound, like the real good old school vinyl master tape type of sound. It has a lot of charm. What it does is that it takes basically the sound that's happening in the foreground and makes it mainly just about that. You don't get so much of the technical capabilities of the system where you're feeling that the dimension is, in front of the speaker, at the speaker, behind the speaker, around the speaker, comes all the way to you, around you. You don't get that. You don't get the clarity, the separation, the really high level normalization that I get with this power box that you can see is lighted up down there, the isolate box. That box in this system gives me a lot of control over the harshness, so that I have time to observe detail. I have time to understand what is happening here versus what is happening here. When I go over to this solution here, which is a good value solution, it gives you a lot of value for the money. It could be this solution or something close to that. This could be Carter's instead of AudioNote. This generalizes sound. You get to view the sound through all of its flaws. You sort of admire the sound through all of its flaws. You're looking at what we in Danish call hovedtræk, hovedtræks personlighed. That is the main features of what is going on in the sound, the main stuff, the violinists and the singer, or the guy playing the piano and the singer, the main stuff. You're not listening so much to all the technical stuff, all the stuff that's going on in the background over there. You're not listening to that. You're sort of, with this solution here, dramatizing noise while numbing the system a tiny bit, sort of fixing the holes in the system. Like I said before in a previous video, this thing here is something that doesn't color the sound. Okay, it's a very basic sound that sort of plays a very basic half-censored type of original kind of neutral type of sound. But the thing is, ultra nuance, ultra detail, the best variety in the world, all the layering, all the bandwidth, all the technical stuff, you can't get it with this solution here. The thing is, when you have this solution here, you're sort of taking the sound and you're mixing it in a pot, and you're sort of making it integrate, smoothing stuff out, sort of in a way dramatizing noise, and at the same time sort of killing it at the same time. So this will give you a sense of presence, a sense of authenticity. This is why a lot of people, especially older men that are into hi-fi, they believe that this is the real sound. This is the most authentic sound that you can get. You don't need all of these fancy cables here and there and so and so. And to some degree, they are right. To some degree, they are right. This here creates a form of naturality and presence, and the volume is going to be like, the volume control is going to be like, there's nothing called normalization and proper control and inner detail and variety and all that stuff that I mentioned before. This is sound at its pure, raw form. This is hard to listen to for a long period of time. But the reason why people do this, why they say that this is the real sound, is because instruments sound surprisingly authentic, surprisingly released. And it's because all of this stuff is in a way dramatizing noise. But what I've just told you is sort of like the better way of dramatizing noise. This is sort of like the way that audio notes, most places demo their gear. They do it in this basic way. Basic cables, basic power bar, basic cables again, maybe their own speaker cable. This is what they do. This is how they present their sound. And you get a very old-fashioned, retro, what do you call it? Original sound, authentic sound, original sound, but with severe limitations. You're not going to get that part of the detail. You're not going to get into the technical parts so much. So I'm saying to people that this is real. You can make a lot of faults in your system with half bad gear or pretty bad gear. You can sort of get away with it a lot more here and make everything sound in a way more authentic. And as soon as we get over to this solution here, where you are bypassing the clips on the speakers, you're running a high quality silver cable over to the speakers. It's a bit shorter than normal. And you have pretty high quality plugs on. And you've got a high quality power conditioner on. And all of these cables, ignore that last one. That's just an experiment I'm doing right now. But all of these cables that are a bit short, high quality, they are confronting the problems of the system. They are opening up all the weaknesses. And it's your job with these tools to go deep in and try to control that detail, to get in connection with whatever you want to do with your system. Maybe you want to use a cardless cable, or Nerdist, or AudioQuest, Audio Notes, QED, whatever. These are tools to sort of figuring out your system and going on a wild ride and trying to sort of like dare breaking through all of those different barriers in HiFi. Because here's the truth about HiFi. You don't buy an amplifier and then it does everything for you. You don't buy a CD player, a DAC, a speaker, and then magic happens by itself. Yes, to some degree, by itself, it does a huge improvement, yes. But again, these are tools for potentially getting 3, 5, 10 steps ahead of where you usually are in HiFi. So I'm just trying to empower people by saying the gear itself is not good enough. You either go this route or a route that is similar to this. It could be a different variety of this or a different variety of that. What I'm saying is that this is why your system at home sounds in a way more authentic than the systems like this at the shows. The systems like this at the shows confront detail. They run into problems because they've got stuff on that's so much more revealing that it so easily shows you the mistakes that the presenter made where they only had a couple of hours or a couple of days setting up a system. This here tells you the truth of what's happening. This here sort of grinds everything up in a pot and makes it all fall out at the same time, not really making you understand exactly what's going on. This is like a half traumatic experience, but very real experience. Okay, this is observation through flaws. This is observation more through perfection. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you guys so you are empowered to go and take those steps that you need to take in order to improve your own sound. So I hope that helped you guys. Have a nice day. Bye.